Hey Todd, so this is going to be the video of me going over how to work everything while I'm working Shelby to get a manual for you, but hopefully this answers any of your questions. I'm just going to go through everything right here on the steering wheel and down here that's going to be going on in the screen in front of you. Keep in mind this is the same year vehicle as you, same color actually. It's this one's a Super Snake, so it's as close to yours as I can really get out of anything I have in stock. So I'm going to go ahead and go over this with you, and hopefully this answers your questions. So first and foremost, car, of course you want to have it on. And the video might clip in and out. I just like to edit it together that way, so I'm not wasting your time with a lot of the stuff that waiting, loading screen, stuff like that. So there's screen view. We're gonna go ahead and start with the Mustang button here. What that's gonna do is open up the menu that allows you to get into all this other fun stuff in here that I'll go over with you. All the personalization of the vehicle. So the first one is My Mode. And what that's gonna do is you have essentially a personal drive mode that helps you set up, and you can see you can save it there. Right now it's in normal steering, normal vehicle response, I guess, not in sport or track mode, and then you have your launch control as well. So I can set my mode to have a personal launch control for when a certain track or a certain situation that I like to use a lot. And then you have the ability to have your my mode. Maybe you want your steering in comfort, but you want your vehicle response in sport or track. This is another way you can set it up here. Now there are the preset modes, of course, and you switch that with this right over here. So with this being said, I'm going to go cycle through the different modes. Back from my home screen, you have your normal mode here. You have your sport mode, Sport Plus that is. Track, which turns off a lot of the traction control and stability control, so you can really take advantage of the vehicle. Drag strip is the same thing. As you can see, you have now launch control 3000 right there, so that's a really cool feature of it, is you can have a different launch control settings for different modes. So maybe on the track mode I want it different than if I want a drag strip, because the surfaces will be different. And then you do have a snow wet mode. I've heard by people that have been on the track on a rain day that this makes it look like you're a professional driver. It fights wheel spin as you're cornering, as you're giving it throttle. It's just really hard to spin this car out when it's in snow wet mode. I'm sure you can do it, but I've just heard it's pretty hard to do. Now we're back to the normal mode here. So that was this switch right there for mode. Next to that is going to be your steering. So I'm going to go ahead and flip this, and you have your normal, sport, and comfort right there. And then it cycles back through to normal. So you're just going to keep tapping up. There is no down. I see a lot of people try to push these down. It just cycles. There you go. Next one over, traction control settings. You have your simple traction control off. Put it back on, and if I hold it up, there you go. It completely turns stability control off like track mode. And that's this switch. Traction control switch is right here. So tap up, turn it on, hold to turn everything off. Next to that is just your flashers, hazards. Alrighty, so that's all of the functional buttons over here. This is all climate control. The screen itself is the same Sync 4 screen on any Ford product of this generation. It has voice activated navigation, so I can tap the button and talk to it right here. It also has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. And I'll go over that in a second after I wrap up what's going on up here. So this is the Mustang button. Again, I'm going to be pressing. So you have your My Mode, I went over that. You have your track apps. Now these are pretty cool. You have a bunch of different applications in here that you can use for track days. And I'll go over those right here. Whenever I press that button, I'll go back again. I'm pressing the Mustang button, clicking OK right here. And then I'm using this up and down arrows to scroll up and down in the menus, and this to go back, pressing OK to open the menus. So here I am at the track apps. I'm going to hit acceleration timer, and then I have these options. I'm going to hit OK to get here, and then once I'm here, up and down on these. And that's the same for every screen I'm using here in this video. So as you can see, you can get quarter mile times, you can clear them all out right now, and you can change them, all through here. But it's individual. You can break down from 0 to 30 timer. So right now it's ready to go. I would hit OK and then take off, and it would automatically time from my OK how long it took to get to 30 miles an hour. So once it hit 30, it would automatically stop the clock. I don't have to press anything to make that happen. As you can see, when I press OK, now it says accelerate to start. I canceled it out right now. I'll go ahead and click that again for you. You can only open it for a little amount of time, but once I press OK, you see it says accelerate to start. Once I slip the clutch and it feels the car moving forward, it starts, and then it stops again once it hits 30. So you don't have to do anything but ready it. Same thing for all of the other timers here, so those aren't going to work any different, and then I can view my best time. Obviously this car is a brand new car. It has no, just like yours, it shouldn't have anything in there. Nobody's ever done it at the dealership. And then below that, you can clear it out if you want to by just tapping OK. Next one is brake performance. You have your 60 to 0. Sorry about that. So brake performance, the same thing in reverse. You got your 60 to 0 and 100 to 0. We're gonna go ahead and click on that. When I'm ready to go, I'm going 60 miles an hour. I will go ahead and hit OK. Same thing as the other, it'll be ready. And as soon as I start slowing down from 60, it's gonna time how quickly the vehicle decelerates. Now the next one here is gonna be line lock. I'm gonna click on that now. Actually, it probably won't let me go in there because of it. Yeah, it's not letting me because the car's not on. But all line lock's gonna do is it's gonna lock the front brakes. You'll hit OK in this screen. You'll pull up a next screen. You'll be able to hold in the clutch, tap the brakes, hit OK, remove your foot completely from the brake, but it will still hold the front brake. And you're gonna slip the clutch and give it gas, and it'll let the back tires spin for a couple seconds. You'll see the timer there, how long that you're able to do that. And then once it's done, it'll release the front brake, and you can either roll out of a burnout or just stop right there. And that's going to clean the tires for you, warm them up for a really good launch. Now below that, lap timer, you can, if you have 3 local tracks or areas that you go through to see how quickly you can go to those areas, you're just going to click in here, hit OK on the timer, and then when you hit the lap marker again, you're going to hit OK again, and then it'll keep the lap time that you set from there, and you can set that for 3 different tracks. Now you have the performance shift indicator as well. Performance shift indicator, you're going to have 3 different modes. You're going to have off, tachometer, drag, and track. And the way that's going to work, if I go back to, first and foremost, I'll show you here, you're going to be able to set the point in which you want to shift. So anywhere from 4,100, it looks like, or 4,000 it looks like, all the way to 72, so all the way to red line. And depending on what kind of driving you're doing, you're going to set the different modes. So if I have it on tachometer mode, which I'll actually just show you, I'll go ahead and set one. So now you can see right there at 7,200 RPM, there's a line. When this tachometer reaches over here to this line, it will go from whatever color you had it previously to an alternate color, depending, like right here, it would normally be orange, but since this is orange, it'll probably be an alternate color. The tachometer, when it reaches that point, the whole thing, which would be filled up at that point with color, will change. Actually, let me go ahead and start this car up. So I'll show you. I set it at the 4,000 so it's easier to see. As it's filling up here, it'll all be one color. As soon as it gets past that point, at or past that point, it will change to a different color. So in the corner of your eye, you can see in the tachometer here when it's time to shift. Now there's 2 more modes I'll go over with you really quick on that. So when I shift over to track mode, it changes a little bit. It's still going to show there, but you see up here, there's now this open portion that shows all open right now. From both sides of this, meeting here in the middle, will show yellow, then orange, and then red, I believe. Green, yellow, then red as it gets closer, and then it will flash when it's at that point. So you can see it as you're coming up. The way that's on a track, you'll be in and out of the throttle, coming out of a corner into apexes, so you'll be using, the RPM's a little different than a drag strip where you're always going to be full throttle. So because of that, it'll come in and out, so you can see you're getting closer to red line, farther from red line at a glance. It's really nice feature. Once it hits, it'll start flashing on you, so you can tell it's time to shift. You're right there at that shift point. Now for the last portion of the performance shift indicator, when I go down to drag mode, we'll go ahead and hop back out of here. So now on this mode, you don't have that on the top like you did in track. You do have it on tachometer here that works the same way. But the cool thing about drag racing, you're going to be full throttle, looking forward ahead. So when you get to that limit there, the top of here and the bottom here are going to highlight yellow really bright almost like they're shining a light from the bottom and top. And what that's going to do is you can be looking forward in the peripheral of your eye. You'll see this shine. You shift, it goes away. Full, full throttle again. Next gear, shine, shift, go away. So that's the drag mode that you're able to use it at. Keep in mind when I change to different drive modes, it also changes the look of the tachometer. So in track mode, that track would be perfect as it would be right down here and show you really big. And the drag mode, same thing. You can see the RPMs bigger or easier there. I'm going to put it in drag so I can show you. So with the big, RPM gauges there, it works a little bit better than when you're in the normal mode, but it will work in any mode that you have it set for. So that's the performance shift indicator. And this is manual just like yours is, so it's something you probably use if you're going to be driving it, to its limit with the manual transmission. Next, launch control. Very simple concept, really. I'm going to set my RPM. When I hold the clutch and my launch control's on, I hold my clutch and give it gas. It's going to hold it at, say, right here, 3,700 RPM. Won't rev past that. Then I slip the clutch, and it's going to, help you get that same launch consistently. So you can set different RPMs for different surfaces to get a more consistent launch. Next, you have your gauges. This is where you're just going to be able to program what's shown on the digital dash. I'll go ahead and show. And once again, I'm just using this right here to do all this. So I have all that information down there. That's what it means by gauges. So I showed that. Go back to where it says gauges. You can see there's configure my gauges, and you can set exactly what you want in your mode there. Next is my color. As you can see, this one has the primary color of blue, and you can see the scroller I'm using is blue, but if I change it to red, now the fuel and other values on the screen and that are going to show over here and here when you're not in the screen will show red. And then you have your secondary color, which this one is set to to gray, my bad. You change that, you see there on the bottom, changes from blue to green, and that's also going to change in the tachometer. So now that I'm back here, this will be green, and inside here will be the primary color as it comes across. So you can set it whatever you want, different cars, different colors, personal favorite colors, whatever you want to do. It doesn't affect anything other than the appearance. And then you have your cluster appearance. So you can change with drive modes like I have it now, or like it comes from the factory, but you can also come in there and say, hey, I really like the way it looks when it's in track mode, so I'll set it to track, and no matter what drive mode I am in, now it will always be in track. So as you can see, I'll go into wet snow, still get the track layout. Normal driving mode, still get the track layout. Sport mode, still track layout. So if you really like that RPM and you drive it aggressively all the time, you can use the settings from the different modes. For example, if you're driving on the racetrack, but you're driving in not less than perfect conditions, we'll say, a little bit of moisture on the track, or even rainfall, snowfall, you can go ahead and use the track gauge there and see the RPMs nice and big, but not have to worry about the traction control being in track mode and spinning you out. And we're going to go ahead and go back up here. So we have my mode, track apps, performance shift indicator, launch control, gauges, my color, and cluster appearance. That's all right here off here. Now, the one below it is your media button. The button below that is the media button that's just going to change your media source, whatever you're playing. This will bring you to the navigation, your phone tab, your settings, and hang up and answer phone calls on a Bluetooth call will be right here. You do have the voice to touch button. I'm just going to tap this and talk to it. Hey, take me to Lawrence Motorsport, and it'll do it on the GPS there for you. Over here, your volume, minus and plus track, mute button at any time. Whatever's playing, you just hit that. It's going to get quiet. If you get a phone call or something, your passenger's having a conversation, you want to just hit that. Whatever's playing, we'll go ahead and quiet down for you. This one, just like yours, should have the adaptive cruise control option. That's going to be part of the safe and smart package that Shelby orders with these vehicles. You have the lane keep assist, blind spot, and adaptive cruise control. So I can use it like regular cruise control. I can actually set in the settings where it never will be adaptive. But if I want it to be adaptive, I can increase and decrease the following distance here. Just like any other one, you turn it on. When it shows that it's on, you get up to the speed you want, you set it. And from there, I can set the adaptive where if someone comes in front of me going slower, it's going to automatically slow down. When they leave, it's going to speed back up to the speed I have set, and this is just how close you're following that person. And then you do have reset as well and cancel. So if I'm going to have cruise control going, I'm going 80 miles an hour, I want to cancel it out without hitting the brake, I just can hit cancel there. Or if I have it canceled and I'm driving and I have the previous 80 miles an hour still saved on from using it before, I'm going to hit reset it. And no matter what speed I'm at, it's going to bring it back up to that 80 miles an hour. And that's pretty much the rundown of the different drive modes, the steering wheel controls, and what's going on over here. Everything else is pretty pretty much self-explanatory. You have your heated, cooled seats, climate control, and then this screen is all the Sync 4 system.